welcome to Swaggerslifestyle.
Hello and welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're good. Hope you're living your best life. I am. Trust me. And I thank God, it's been amazing. Life has been awesome. And it's always wonderful having to come and talk to my community. So this is Gbogbo Swagger and welcome to Swaggerslifestyle. Today we're going to have a very amazing, inspiring story. But before I go into, all of the conversation, I would like to say every morning you have two choices. Continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. I would advise wake up and chase your dreams. Today, we are speaking with a strong and intelligent, a brilliant, a goal-oriented lady with an inspiring story. She's also a YouTuber and she's not new to this channel. Check out her channel. Her contents are very inspiring, educative, and informative. When I talk about people's channel, trust me, because when you go there and you watch their videos, you will always have something to learn and definitely thank me at the end of the day. So I would actually drop her channel, the link to her channel in the description box. So today we're talking to Dr. Adi Mimi. I would allow her to please introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Adi and I am a final year medical student. I currently live and study in a country called Philippines. And in case you don't know, if you're hearing Philippines for the first time, Philippines is a country located in the southeastern part of Asia, and that is where I currently live and study. I am Nigerian. I'm from Anambra State, Nnewi precisely, so I'm an Igbo girl. Yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you so much for honoring our invite and coming back to have this conversation. Thank you, because anytime we call on you, you're always ready to have conversations with us. So let's go straight into today's topic. Now, what was growing up like for you?
I grew up in the eastern part of Nigeria, precisely in my hometown, Nnewi. I grew up in a quite large family. I have 6 siblings. And I remember when I was growing up, I also had my cousins living with us. 6 of my cousins, they were living with us. So imagine that 6 of us,
was a big
7
house.
children plus 6 cousins, plus the house helps, plus if you're Igbo, there's this thing called Omo Boy, like the people that help in the business. So imagine that I pretty much grew up in a very large family setting and a Christian home. I think we're just from like an average Nigerian family, and growing up was pretty much fun because I'm the 6th child. So imagine that I have lots of elder ones. So it was just a family of love. There was love, there was affection, and I actually enjoyed it pretty much.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm sure that everything that you needed, you always had, because for those ones that have elderly ones, they are always going to each and every one of them to ask for things.
Yeah. I had elder ones, but then I used to wish I actually have just one biological sister. At that time I was wishing I had like lots of sisters, because I actually have 5 brothers. So imagine growing up with 5 guys, 5 men.
It makes us strong, and our brothers are always protective of their sisters.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. So at what point did you decide that you needed more out of life?
It gets to a point in life where you actually want to feel fulfilled, right? That's the word.
Yes.
And for me, I graduated in 2012 from University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where I studied biochemistry. And the situation of Nigeria, how things were or are currently in Nigeria. I was not really able to get a job in a sector that I really wanted, As at that time, when I finished studying biochemistry, I wanted to work like in research laboratories or in pharmaceutical research companies. Pretty much that was what I wanted to do then. So I wasn't really getting job offers in that line that I wanted. And instead of staying at home, I remember then in end of 2013, I decided to take up this customer service training in Lagos. So I served in Abuja, by the way. So I moved back to Lagos, and after that certification, I was able to, get a job. as an admin executive slash front desk then in Lagos. But I worked for a while. I think I just worked for 3 months in Lagos, and I couldn't cope with the situation in Lagos. You know how crazy Lagos can be.
I know
I was
how
living at
Lagos
one
can be.
I was living at one end and I was working at one end.
At the
So
other end.
I couldn't just
Wow.
cope. I was young then. I think I was 24. I was just out of school, I think I was 24 thereabouts. So I couldn't just cope with the stress. And I know that I didn't make the best of decisions at that time because I just resigned. I was just tired. But looking back now, knowing what I know now, I shouldn't have resigned from that job. But anyways, I resigned from the job. I got another job as a marketer, literally for a pharmaceutical company. I did the job for a while, but it wasn't productive. I was supposed to be the sales rep for Abuja, so I moved back to Abuja then in 2014. Yeah, middle of 2014. I did the job as a sales rep, going from hospitals to pharmacies.
To a
I was
hospital,
literally
yes.
walking on the streets of Abuja selling drugs. It was not easy, you know. I did that for a while, left that one, did a couple of other jobs as customer service. But, towards 2015, 2016, I wasn't just satisfied, I just knew that I could achieve more. I knew that the potentials I had was more than what I was doing. I understand that, life comes in phases and sometimes you have to be patient. But at that time, I just knew that I needed more. I was not fulfilled, basically. So towards 2017, I started trying. In fact, from 2015, I was even applying for my master's at that time to the UK. But, financial reasons, I couldn't go at that time. But I just knew that I wanted more. So literally from doing those jobs, I was not fulfilled. It can be earning money, but there's something about job satisfaction. Is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you feel fulfilled doing this? These companies were great in their own way, but I just feel like this girl, there's more in you than what you currently do. So I decided to, pursue going back to school. Yeah. Literally, that's why.
Okay, so earlier you were talking about, wanting to go back to school to do your master's, and then you couldn't because of financial reasons and all of that. So now, how did you go back to studying medicine, and why medicine?
Like I mentioned, I've been trying to go back to school. I've tried to apply for masters and all of that, but it didn't work out. And then in 2017, for me, I believe so much in the power of seed sowing. So after I sowed this particular seed in my church, that same, I think barely 2 months after that, someone messaged me, and a family member actually, but I'm not going to mention the person's name. The person messaged me and says, oh, there's this school in the US, and they offer nursing and it's quite relatively affordable. Would you mind, studying in this school? I was like, oh, cool, that's interesting, because I've always been looking at also studying nursing since the master's was also not working out. And I applied, I got everything I needed, got the documents from the school and everything. And I applied for my visa, and I was denied. I also reapplied again for the second time for my visa. I was also denied visa. So at that time, I was quite disappointed anyway. I felt like maybe God doesn't want me to travel out. And to be honest with you, I never wanted to study in Nigeria. I don't know. It's something deep down I didn't want. But as things were going, I was like, maybe God doesn't even want me to, travel abroad for studies. I was pretty much disappointed. And if there's a word like being mad, I was literally mad with God, because I prayed about it. I was at that point where, this thing was already here. The money was there. The finances were there. The only thing I needed was just a visa. And 2 times I was denied. I was very disappointed. I was like, okay,
Denied.
cool. Maybe God doesn't want me to, study abroad. At that time, I started considering studying in Nigeria. I even applied to University of Lagos. I even started a postgraduate program there in University of Lagos. But during that time, there's something that happened. One one of the things God was speaking to me about was obedience, you know. I'm this kind of person, not like
Yes.
I don't obey, but I'm a very strong-willed person. If I say I want to do this, I'm gonna do that. You get?
This is
But
what
at
you
that
want to
time,
do.
the Holy Spirit, God was talking to me about being obedient. So, for me, I just knew that that period, there's this thing like what I decided within myself that whatever my parents advised me to do at that time, I was going to do it. I'm not going to argue, even if it's not really what I wanted to do. I don't know if you get what I mean. Yeah. So my dad calls me one day and he says, there's this hospital in my hometown in Nnewi. We have a teaching hospital. I don't know if you know Nnamdi Azikiwe University teaching hospital. The hospital is located in my hometown in Nnewi. So he calls me and says, okay, since I want to go back to the medical line, how about he helps me get a job in this hospital? To be honest with you, that going back there or working in that place was the last thing on my mind. You know, imagine you're for someone coming from almost traveling for nursing, and then they're telling you to go to this place in Nnewi to go and apply for. Do you get? So it was not what I wanted at that time at all. Like my mind was not even there. But because this was what God was telling me, I was like, okay, cool, Dad. I said, okay, fine. If this is what you want me to do, I'm going to do it. So I traveled back to him. And you know how in Nigeria, somehow you're supposed to know somebody that can help you. So there's this woman that works in the teaching hospital. She's kind of, you know, one of the top people in the hospital. So he scheduled a meeting with the woman, and then we met up with the woman, and apparently the woman also invited one of the top people in the hospital. So it was more like a meeting. And then I walk into the meeting. My dad was already there. My mom was already there. And the woman was like, hi, you know, we exchanged pleasantries. What my own was, I was just there because God said obey. Do you get? I was not interested in whatever they wanted to say. Anything they wanted, it was okay with me.
What did you say?
But I was just there, and the woman just looked at me. She was like, why do you want to come and work here? Why not go and study nursing? You know, why not this? Why not that? She was just like, instead of me coming here to, you know, look for a job as a biochemist, why not go and study nursing? You get? And mind you, she hasn't met me before. She didn't know how I was denied the visa for nursing 2 times for US. You know, she didn't know all of that. So I just felt God orchestrated that meeting for me. So when she said that, I was like, wow, really? How did this woman know about all of these things? So that was when I now opened up to her. I told her, actually, I wanted to study nursing, and, you know, I've tried going to the US and my visa was denied. She was like, really? She was like, oh, that her son lives in this country called Philippines. Her son is a medical student in this country called Philippines. They actually do nursing there in the Philippines. Oh, he's going to give me his son's contact. He's going to tell his son about me, so, you know, I can make inquiries on how to go back to study nursing in the Philippines. I was like, oh, cool, that's cool. We exchanged numbers and I started communicating with her. But then when the son who was in the Philippines, when he made the inquiries regarding nursing here in the Philippines, the kind of nursing I wanted was the more like the top-up one where you don't have to spend 4 years in school. That was the kind of nursing I wanted, one that could last for 2 years because I already have a first degree. But apparently the schools here at that time, he didn't really see a school then that could accept me for just 2 years. I don't know if you understand. You get? So when that wasn't possible, I was like, okay, what other option do I have? He said the schools here still said I have to do 4 years. I'm like, why would I do 4 years of nursing? I was like, he also did mention that since I have a biochemistry degree, a first degree from Nigeria, with a first degree from Nigeria, you can actually do medicine here for 4 years. I was like, I compared the two. I was like, doing nursing for 4 years, doing medicine for 4 years. I can as well do medicine for 4 years. So I chose the studying for, medicine for 4 years instead of doing the nursing for 4 years. If I had seen maybe 2 years nursing, maybe I would have considered that, but I weighed the two options. I felt like it made more sense to study medicine for 4 years instead of going for nursing for 4 years. So that's how I came about here. Medicine for 4 years was more profitable for me than studying.
That's
It was
true.
just that period I made that decision. I just prayed, and maybe God has a better plan for me anyway. So I just went for medicine instead.
So it's not like you had the dream all along when you were young to study medicine. You know, because in Nigeria, sometimes you want to study a particular course,
Yeah.
but when you apply for admission, you get something else, and you hear they say I should go and read. They gave me so course and all of that. So was it like they gave you biochemistry, or you wanted to bring biochemistry from the onset?
Of course, they gave me biochemistry. That was not what I wanted.
So what did you want to study?
Okay, so when I finished secondary school, what I wanted to study back then
Yes.
was pharmacy, I already had, yeah.
Oh.
And also my siblings, I have two of my siblings, my brother and my sister, they were already in medical school in University of Nigeria. And I remember how they always tell gory stories about how their med school was, how stressful it was. They were never at home. They were always in school. I barely see them, So the experiences they were having, I didn't just feel like medicine was for me
This is
at
what
that
you
time.
wanted.
Yeah, at that time. So I was like, okay, cool. Pharmacy was cool. That was what I wanted, and everybody was okay with it. But jammed us together, and I was giving biochemistry. At least the idea then was, after a year in biochemistry, I was going to switch to pharmacy, but literally after that it didn't work out. I even had to take jump. I think I took another jump in my first year. I took another jump in my second year for pharmacy, but it wasn't working out. So I just like, let me just finish up the biochemistry. But then I wasn't thinking about going back to school when I graduated, to study pharmacy or anything like that. I just wanted to, pursue the biochemistry in masters, maybe masters in public health. I wasn't looking at medicine at that time, but I just feel like, knowing what I know now, being more matured, I also considered a lot of things before I went for medicine. Medicine is a very broad field, right? You can choose a lot of different specialties. There are lots of specialties you can choose from. At that time, I was even considering forensic medicine. Like, I really love forensics. So it was something I was looking at that time, even though now I'm not yet sure. But I feel medicine is a broad field. Even if I choose tomorrow that I don't want to work in the clinical sector, there are lots of other options, for you. There's public health, there's global health, there's community medicine. There are lots of other options, even if you don't want to choose to be in the clinical setting. So that was that was one of the things I considered, and I was like, okay, cool, let me go for medicine.
That's true. And I think probably God had already written it down that you're actually going to be a doctor. So everything was actually working with his plan for your life. Because at the end of the day, we as humans, his plan is always the best for us. We might have like a different path that we want to take, but he'll just be like, nope, this is what I want you to do, and this is your purpose. And one way or the other, you just fall into God's purpose for yours.
Absolutely,
for
absolutely. I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah. Were you discouraged at any point about going back to school and studying medicine?
To be honest, when all these things were happening, the whole of the application process and all of that, I was already in my late 20s. I was 28, 29 when all of these were happening. I was worried, I was like, going back to school now, if I'm going for medicine, that's like extra 4 years of my life, I was insecure about it, I was worried. Yeah, I was worried. I thought about it, but like I said, I come from a very wonderful family, love and affection and attention. And I spoke to my brother. In fact, my brother called me. One of my brothers is also a doctor as well. And there's something he told me that can never leave my mind. He said, Adi, this thing you're thinking about and worried about 4 years from now, if you're 30, you're still going to be 34 4 years from now. 4 years, let's assume 5 years from now, you'll still be 35. So time would still come and time would still go. If this is something you really want to do, you can as well start. It doesn't matter your age. That was just what he told me. And I slept over it. I prayed about it. I'm like, let's just do this. Because 4 years from now, even if I didn't go for medicine and whatever I choose to do, I'll still be 34 either ways. Do you get? So I just thought about it, and I just feel like irrespective of whatever age you are, if you really want to do something, and if you set your mind to do something, you can actually do that, and you can actually achieve that. And I talking about my age, before I used to be insecure, like I mentioned, but now I'm cool with it. When people hear of my story, it even inspires them that if I can do it, then they can do it as well. Like, for example, next year I'm going to be 34 either ways, but at 34 I will now be a doctor. So imagine I didn't.
A doctor.
Yeah.
That's an achievement, like a great one at that.
I know, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
And if you did not make that decision like over 3 years ago, you don't know what you'll be doing by now. You might still not be happy.
Yeah, I know, right? And either ways, you still did
true.
34 years, you still come and go. So why not do what you want to do? That's look at, did you hear about this? I think 2 days ago I was scrolling through YouTube. I don't know how YouTube does it. YouTube recommends things that they know you will love. So I was scrolling through and I saw Reverend Funke Adejumo's YouTube posts about how she went back for her law degree. That was her first day of law school. So she posted it on. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it? You should check
I've
her.
not.
Yeah, you
I
should.
haven't.
She started law school, I think, last week. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. And seeing that it doesn't matter your age, if whatever it is you set your mind to achieve, you can achieve it.
You spoke about support from your family. There are some people that they have dreams, but their immediate family will not give them their support. For example, you went back to school at the age of 30. Some normal family or some families will say you should be thinking about settling down, either getting married, having children and all of that. But we are going to support you because this is what you want to do. Now, so for those people that do not have that support system, what do you advise them to do?
It's something I understand very well. I can really understand that, because to be honest, it's not easy. And like you mentioned, it's not every family that will support you, especially as a female. In Nigeria, once you're getting to your late 20s, in fact your mid 20s, they're already expecting that you should be
singing the marriage song in your ear.
Thank you. So I don't know, but I feel like if it's something like you have a strong conviction that this is really what you want to do, and you need support, especially when it comes to financial support, then maybe firstly, I don't know, it may sound cliche, but that's what I believe in. I believe so much in the power of God. There's nothing God cannot do. That thing you're trying to convince someone, you can pray about it and talk to the person. God has a way to talk to people. Firstly, you have to pray intensely about it, because I got to a point when I knew that all these things I'm trying to pursue that is not working out, I need to talk to God about this. And it was the moment I handed over everything to God. That's when, things started falling in line for me. Somebody just messaged me, I want to sponsor you. Do you get? So firstly, you pray about it. There's nothing God cannot do when it comes to that. There's nothing, absolutely nothing God cannot do. After you pray about it, then you can sit down, write out, okay, why do I want to do this thing? Why do I want to go back to school, or why do I want to pursue this? And you write out your concrete plan, your genuine plans, and then you sit down with maybe a family member you think that is more receptive or is more understanding, because I don't believe that everybody will say no to you. At least there should be someone, maybe it may not even be a family member, but somebody close to your family. You sit down with the person, talk with the person, discuss your plans with the person, that you need support. That's just the truth. You need some, even if it's not financial support, emotional support goes a long way. Mental support,
moral support.
Moral support. It's not just financial. You need to talk to someone that you feel like that will understand better.
So how's medical school doing for you so far?
Oh my God, it gets tougher as the year goes by. In my first year I was like, oh my God, how can I cope this? And looking back,
I really do this?
Yeah, but now that I'm in my final year, I'm like, what was I even complaining about in first year? Like, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher as you go up. Like, I'm currently in my final year, and final year here in Philippines is basically when you start going to full hospital rotations. We don't do lectures anymore. So I go to the hospital for clinical rotations, and this is my 4th month. And to be honest, it's not easy, but like I said, God is helping me. That's all I can say. God is helping me, but it's not so easy. The first year was challenging for me, especially the system of education here is quite different from what we have back home. In Nigeria, we are more theory based, but here it's they take medicine here is like a postgraduate course, so nobody is teaching you. You're basically more like you're studying by yourself. You're trying to figure out things by yourself. The method of exam here is a lot different from what we have in Nigeria. Here it's mostly MCQ, that's multiple choice questions, where almost all the answers are correct. You have to choose the best correct answer. So I just had to start, I had to get used to the system of education here to start adapting. So towards my first semester, it got a lot better, but so far so good. It's tough, but God has been helping me. That's all I can say.
God is faithful.
Yeah.
God is faithful.
Yeah.
So how did you manage challenges? Like, were there any time you said, you know what, I don't want to do this, I think I want to run back home, I don't think I can cope? So how were you able to manage all of that?
Oh my God.
I like the way you're laughing because
I can relate.
Like, my eyes have seen.
I don't see shaking. My eye don't see shaking. God.
I see shaking.
There are times when, especially here, that it's, for example, when my siblings were in med school, I remember then sometimes my parents even go to visit them, or at least sometimes they come home, even if it means 2 days, 3 days. But it's not like that here. There is no family you can say you want to go and visit. So it's just you and you by yourself. But one of the prayers I made when I was coming here, that God, I know you're taking me to a land where I do not know anyone, but can you please provide help for me in terms of friendship? So I think that's the beautiful thing God did for me here. Every year, every academic year, there's someone that God brings into my life. Maybe someone I've already known, but in my first year, there was someone God brought into my life. In my second year, there are people God brought into my life. Third year, and now in final year. So those people kind of made it easier for me to cope in med school, because to me, it's not something you can actually do by yourself. No matter how intelligent or smart you think you are, it's not something you can do by yourself. So I feel like that alone was very, very helpful. Having people, even if it means 1 or 2 people that God brings into my life every academic year, it's really been very helpful. But of course, there are days when oh my God, I don't know if you've seen one of my vlogs. I intentionally posted it. Like, there are days I don't even feel like getting up from my bed to go to the hospital. Like,
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, like it happens, but quitting is not an option. Quitting.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing I like about your vlogs is, one thing I like about your channel is you are very real and down to earth, in the sense that some people would not tell people of their struggles and how they're overcoming their challenges. They just come out and say everything is fine, I'm in medical school, it's going all rosy, I'm doing this. But with you, everything is relatable. We know that there are times where there are the up times, there are the down times, there are times where you're calling out that I need there's a support system that God can help. So I love things like that, because the truth is that the journey of man is not straightforward. It's up and down, wavy. Sometimes it's even round and even has jaga even to did it, because you don't know. But at the end, if you have God, He just makes it easy for you.
Keep pushing.
I can actually relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I know that He that has started this good work in your life, He's definitely going to complete it by
Amen.
by His grace. So I would like to say congratulations, and I hope you would actually write a book, because I think you should.
Really? I've never thought about that.
Yes, I think you should write a book.
Really?
Yes.
God, sometimes God can speak through people, though. One thing I know, and one thing I always say, is that if you can think it, if it's in your mind, if God has placed it in your mind, if you think it, you can do it. Honestly, you don't need to be afraid. One thing is, if you start thinking about the end products or the end, like if you start thinking about the end, you're never going to take a step. For me, I don't know if you've seen it on my Facebook profile or my Instagram, I'm taking life one day at a time. If you ask me now, oh, Adi, what's up with next 2 years? I don't even know. This whole journey, it's a journey of faith. I don't even know all the plans yet, but I'm just taking it one day at a time. One day at a time. So you ask yourself, what do you want to do now? You want to go back to school, whatever it is you want to study. What's the next thing you should do? If it means going to get that application form, if it means, oh, making inquiries about the country or the school you want to go, take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Okay, you get the admission. Stop thinking about, oh, it's going to take me 4 years, it's going to take me 5 years. If you think like that, you will trust me, you will not achieve it. But just take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Then God is going to order your steps and keep revealing things to you. Like I said, you know how God's plans for us, it keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. You don't know the end from the beginning. You only know the paths God has shown you. So just take a step. Take a step. Once you take that step, before you know it, honestly, if I look back now, and to me 2019 till now, I don't even know how the year flew so fast. And one thing I've observed is when you're living in purpose, when you feel fulfilled, or when you're living in that purpose why you think you were created, you don't even consider time. You don't even know how fast time goes. So don't think about the number of years it will take you to achieve. Just take a step. Take a step. If it means checking the name of the school, take a step now as you're watching this video. Google about the school, make your contact, call people. Just take a step. You can't keep procrastinating. Take a step today. That's my advice.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you, for being very truthful about your process and your journey so far. And we like to say congratulations, because we know that you are a doctor and you're going to be an amazing one at that. I know. Yes, so this is in advance. So very soon it's going to happen. Thank you so very much. It is very awesome to have this conversation with you, and your story is one that inspires one to take that step. Hope you jotted down a lot of things. Hope you learned a lot of things. I did actually learn. I learned a lot of things. And I would like to tell you out there, whoever it is that has a dream, or probably maybe you had one like 10 years ago, stuck somewhere, go and dig it up. It's time to dust that dream. It's time to dust the vision, and it's time to run with it. The truth is that +1 or +2 of your age now will always be +1 and +2 of your age. What would you do within that period of 365 days? Take the step today. And at the end, you'll have cause to what? Thank God, rejoice, and be happy. So take the step today. This is Gbogbo Swagger, and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. Do not forget to please share, like, comment, turn on your notification. And also we have other amazing videos, on our channel. Watch it, share with your network, and also be true to yourself. Stand up, live your dream, be the dream, and take the step. Till I come your way, this is Gbogbo Swagger, and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. Thank you, and bye.